USC's been a member of the big conference for one game, and so far, Miller Moss has everybody's attention.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Culkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you want to download your podcast, this show is always going to be free, and the show is always going to appreciate your support. Hey, have you heard about the Ultimate College Football Head Coach? It's a brand new mobile game that is completely free. It has no ads, and it's 100% playable offline. Use the promo code LOCKEDON, CFB, all capital letters, and inside the game store to receive a free boost to your program. Begin your coaching legacy today. All capital letters. Now, I know that Ohio State's Will Howard already knew who Miller Moss was. I mean, Miller kind of scared him away to Columbus. He was in the transfer portal. Lincoln Riley was all set to go and get him. Miller Moss had that great Holiday Bowl performance. Will Howard says, I'm out of here. I'm going to Columbus. He is now the Ohio State Buckeyes starting quarterback. I actually saw that an Oregon fan, they were happy that they don't have to face Miller Moss. They were like, oh, he's really good. In fact, I saw one message board that had remember, it's USC versus LSU. This particular Oregon message board had 1,000 post thread going on. And the vast majority of them were like, oh, wow, that team's really good. In fact, this was the most common thing I've been hearing. Wow, USC looks like a different team. And, Lincoln Riley has a defense. Sigh. Remember, Lincoln Riley is known as one of the greatest offensive coaches out there. You combine that with a defense, yeah, trouble. Anyways, let's get back to Miller Moss, the guy who has the country's attention. He definitely has the Big Ten Conference's attention. On Monday, Labor Day, USC Trojans quarterback Miller Moss was named the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. As Pete Arbogast would say, how do you do? In the game against LSU, Moss, he was 27 of 36, 378 yards, just one touchdown pass. But he was at his best when it mattered the most, in the fourth quarter, when USC was trailing. Think about it. On those final two drives of the game, USC trailed 17-13, and then they eventually tied it. The game was tied at 20. During those two drives, Miller went 7 for 8 throwing the ball, 97 yards. But wait, it gets even better. Miller Moss under pressure while facing a blitz. He completed 8 of the 14 pass attempts during those blitzes, 114 yards. So better than 50%. When Miller was throwing a pass over 10 yards, guess what? He was perfect. 11 for 11, 240 yards through the air. And here's, I think, a really good stat. When USC was trailing in the fourth quarter and that pressure was mounting, in the fourth quarter alone, Miller was 11 for 14, 146 yards. Those 3 bullet points that I just read off to you, 4 bullet points, those numbers are eye-opening. And they really shed some light on Miller's ability to lead this team. And lead them not just to a win, but maybe to the promised land. Who knows? And the promised land means, contending for a championship, conference, and then getting into the playoffs. So again, those particular things really contributed, and I would say significantly, to Miller Moss earning his first big conference accolade, the first Offensive Player of the Week award in the big conference in the 2024 season. Welcome, USC. Welcome, Miller Moss. Now, in Miller Moss's 2 games as a starter, going back to the Holiday Bowl, he's now thrown for 372 yards and 378 yards, And according to USC, Moss is the first Trojan starting quarterback to debut with back-to-back wins over ranked teams since, I guess, they started keeping those records in 1971. That's pretty impressive, right? By the way, coincidence? I believe both Louisville and LSU, I know LSU was for a fact, but both teams were ranked number 13 in the country when they lost to USC. The new rankings should be coming out. The new poll will be out on Tuesday. I don't know, depending on when you're watching this episode of Locked on USC, I anticipate seeing USC move all the way up to maybe as high as number 12. We'll see. I know everybody watched the game. I know how many people saw Miller Moss it's like, where did Lincoln Riley find this guy? How about 9.2 million viewers watched that USC LSU game the other night? Yeah. And according to the ratings, the actual high point, 11.1 million viewers during the game. And those numbers probably would have been even higher if DirecTV and ABC Disney, whatever you want to call them, they weren't playing a little slap and tickle under the table, trying to extort money from each other. I really hate it. I'm so tired of this system. Right? So literally, depending on your service provider, that game on ABC, it was blacked out. You had to go figure out another solution. So again, everyone knows who Miller Moss is now after having that spotlight just shining on him. That USC LSU game, only game on TV on Sunday. Not bad, right? That's why you're going to have so many viewers. But when you have two programs with the names USC and LSU, it's an intriguing matchup. This is why I never want to see these types of out-of-conference games go away. They are such a part of college football, and the fans want to watch them. I know LSU fan is upset that they lost again opening day, and there are no moral victories at LSU, but that was a damn good college football game. Damn good game. And I'll say right now, I was very impressed with how hard LSU played, how well they played on defense, and their wide receivers, pretty good. Not as good as USC, but pretty good. Deal with it, LSU fan. I'm going to be a little bit biased, okay? So before we close out this segment, how would you rank the big conference quarterbacks? I mean, you have Dylan Gabriel up there at Oregon, who's close to collecting a Social Security check. What is this, his 13? Will Howard, I mentioned him a moment ago. He's at Ohio State. He was at Kansas State prior to that, but the reason he jumped into the transfer portal, he was being passed over by a younger player. I don't know the whole dynamics behind the whole thing, but Will didn't feel like Manhattan, Kansas was the place for him. Maybe it was all about NIL. Probably. A lot of it. Where is Penn State's Drew Allar? Where is he in this conversation? I mean, he has the arm talent, but can he handle the pressure? Penn State, they got that win in Morgantown, West Virginia over the weekend. Solid win. It's never easy to travel and win on the road. Morgantown is not an easy place to play. But his next challenge, Penn State's next challenge, literally doesn't happen until they come to LA to play USC. This is their schedule, and it's all at home. They've got Bowling Green this coming weekend, then Kent State, then the bye week, Illinois in, again, Happy Valley, UCLA in Happy Valley, and then Penn State travels to Los Angeles to play the Trojans. So who am I missing in this quarterback discussion? Who am I leaving out? I literally, I can't think of another quarterback in the Big Ten Conference that makes me go, oh my God. I can't. USC does not want to deal with that. No, there's nobody. Maybe UW's quarterback with the transfer from Mississippi State. What's his name? Will Levis. Maybe you can throw him into discussion. For me, I think it's really clear. The Big Conference, at least this year, right now, maybe 4 out of 5 of those 18 teams have a legitimate quality quarterback. Somebody you can say, all right, I want that guy leading our team. I'll tell you what, I would believe that 17 out of, well, not including USC, 16 out of the 18 teams would say, you know what, I want Miller Moss instead of our quarterback. You guys can decide which those 16 teams are. Hey, Locked On USC fans, check this out. I want to take a moment to give you a heads up on a brand new mobile game that I think you're going to love. Really do. It's called Ultimate College Football Head Coach. It's this really cool game, and it'll let you step up, and you can actually pretend you're putting on the shoes and being a college football head coach. Imagine being the head coach of the Trojans. Yeah, from recruiting players, hiring a coaching staff, overseeing the training camp, handing out scholarships. You control every crucial detail of the program. It's all in your hands. Can you handle the pressure? You think you're up to it? Ultimate College Football Head Coach is completely free. The game is awesome. It has no ads. And it's 100% playable offline, which means you can play on the go as you want and whenever you want, wherever you are. Doesn't matter. Use promo code LOCKEDONCFB, all capital letters. And you can do that inside the game store to receive a free boost to your program. Make sure to take advantage of this perk, and it'll get your team off to a really good, strong start. Download the game. Just visit ultimate-cfb.com. Again, that's ultimate-cfb.com, or look it up in the app stores. Ultimate College Football Head Coach. Begin your coaching legacy today. There were a couple surprises that kind of popped out to me when I was looking at the participation chart. Who got to play in the game? How many reps? I'm going to go over this with you. You tell me if what catches your eye, or maybe your ear if you're listening to it, if you're not watching on YouTube. By the way, if you are watching on YouTube, do not forget, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Smash that thumbs up like you're the Hulk, and do not forget to hit that bell notification button. That way, you're not going to miss any single episode that I ever do. Trust me, you want to be here for all of your USC news and notes. So as I mentioned, there was a couple of things kind of jumped out at me, a couple of surprises. By the way, did you know that backup offensive lineman, his name is Jack Sisner? He was in there for the victory formation. He lined up at left guard. That was one thing that I guess mild surprise. But if you think back to the game, remember when Emmanuel Prignon had a little trouble getting up on a play near the goal line? Kind of got bent over a little bit. He got back up, don't get me wrong. But I think he was a little dinged up in the game, and so maybe that's what it was at the time. Someone just said, hey, someone get in there. Who wants to be in their victory formation? And I think Jack just grabbed his helmet faster than anybody. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I don't know. But let's go over the participation chart. Let's starting on offense. Miller Moss at quarterback, all 63 snaps at USC was on offense. Running back, you only saw 2. Woody Marks, 51. Quentin Joyner had 13 snaps. Wide receiver, 7 of them got in the game. Kyron Hudson, captain, star, MVP, 2 of the most hellacious one-handed grabs you're ever going to see. If you haven't seen them, go check it out. It's all over social media. So Kyron Hudson, 46 snaps. Jacoby Lane, second most, 41. You like that touchdown grab he had in the second half, right? Miller Moss, really nice. Perfect dime. And it was on a free play, but Jacoby had his man one-on-one. Miller spotted him, took advantage. You had Zachariah Branch, 39 snaps, and Mekhi Lemon had 32. Kyle Ford, 14. Deuce Robinson, 14. Transfer Jay Fair from Auburn, 2 snaps. So what steps out? You know, what speaks to you in that? Obviously, the 4 sophomores, and you had 3 guys with experience. Kyle Ford, Kyron Hudson, Jay Fair. Lincoln Riley, in this game, wanted to make sure he had guys in there that could handle the experience. It was a big game. It was physical. So you're not going to throw these young pups out there. LSU was desperate, and actually they were taking some liberties. I won't say they were throwing some cheap shots, but there were some dirty shots. That targeting shot on Kyron was pretty vicious. At tight end, you only saw 2, but you know what? I don't care if there was only 2 in the game. They were involved. Lake McCree had the most, 52 snaps. Cade Eldridge, 11. It was, I mean, how much fun was it to watch Lake McCree, tying for the team lead with 5 receptions. Kyron had 5. Lake McCree, though, man, it's so much fun to watch a tight end running with the ball in open field because it's such a mismatch. Most defensive backs, they're going to get crushed when they're trying to tackle a tight end. USC, get back to that. Continue doing that. And then let's go to the offensive line. Again, the starters played, plus Jack Susner. And I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I apologize, Jack. I'll make sure I get the correct pronunciation. So Elijah Page at left tackle, 63 snaps. Jonah Monheim, Alani Noah, Mason Murphy, all played with 63 snaps. Emmanuel Prayon, 62. He missed victory formation. I haven't mentioned this yet, but since we're talking about the offensive line right now, and Eric McKinney, who I work with at wearesc.com, he's guest of the show. Great guy, nerd. He is like our analytical person over there on wearesc.com. Always comes up with the great stats. But he put together what he called his hustle chart. These hustle plays, and check this out. I think this is the right time to bring it up because the offensive linemen were heavily involved in these hustle plays. So you had Elijah Page and Emmanuel Prayon recovering fumbles. You had Jonah Monheim. Remember that play where he knocked away a would-be interception? Those were 3. Major, 3 times for emphasis. Those are major hustle plays, so 4 times. That could have been game-changing. USC needed those guys to make the play at the time. Elijah Page, he recovered the Woody Marks attempted pitch to Zachariah Branch, that fumble behind the line of scrimmage. So it was USC's ball at the 12-yard line. USC still ended up punting the ball away, but, LSU, had they recovered, that would have been really bad, because it would have been deep in USC's territory. I don't know if it would have been in the red zone, but it would have been really close to the red zone. Prayon's fumble recovery came on that sack, and because he recovered it, USC still was able to convert a field goal. Really huge. And then that Monheim had that tackle on what would have been an interception, and that saved USC from 20 yards? Yeah, in field position, I think. Probably a touchdown if the guy, if Monheim doesn't tackle the guy. It's a huge, huge play. I told you, Jonah is one of the smartest guys on the team. He recognized, that guy can't catch the ball, knock under the ground. He did it. And it actually turned out, I won't say a benefit to USC, but it went from potentially being LSU's ball at USC's 46. It actually ended up being on LSU's own 36-yard line because when everything was all said and done, LSU had one of their unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. So the ball actually got moved back to their 21-yard line. Huge play by Jonah. I don't think he foresaw the future, but nevertheless, those 3 plays, significant. Let's jump over to the defensive side of the ball. Who do you think played the most snaps on the D-line? If you didn't say Anthony Lucas, you were wrong. He played 46 snaps, 10 more than Nate Clifton, 14 more than Gavin Meyer, 14 more than Jamil Muhammad, and check this out, 18 more than Bear Alexander. Next up, you had Braylon Shelby with 26, Kobe Pepe with 20, Devin Tompkins with 16. You had Solomon Solo Tuliapupu with 16 as well. Sam Green got in the game for 3 snaps. Let's jumped over to the linebackers. I'm going to go over these numbers real quickly for you. Easton Mascarenas Arnold, 64 snaps, middle linebacker. Mason Cobb, 55 snaps on the field. Eric Gentry, 29. So those were the guys in the linebacker group who played. So what did you notice? You didn't hear me mention Elijah Hughes' name at all, which I found interesting. A little surprising that he didn't play in this game. Maybe he's injured. I don't know. We didn't get the injury report. The other thing that kind of popped out to me, and you heard me say it, Bear Alexander. He had the 5th most snaps. What does that mean? Hit me up in the comment section. What do you think that means? Why would, and I'm finger quoting it right now, why would Bear Alexander, who is considered, USC's, air quotes, best interior defensive lineman, only play 28 snaps? Interesting. Kobe Pepe, Nate Clifton, those two inside are a formidable tandem. In fact, I thought the defensive line inside looked their best when those two were in there. And maybe I was focused at certain times, but I'll tell you one play I was certainly focused on. Fourth quarter, 7 minutes plus to play, about 7:15. LSU had 3rd down and 1. And Kobe Pepe, he crashed down. Nate Clifton crashed down. They just wiped out the entire left side from the center to the tackle. Wiped it out. And Eric Gentry was able to snake in there and make the TFL behind the line of scrimmage. Obviously, tackle for loss. Huge play. USC's defense got off the field. USC's defense was that fun to watch. Yeah. If this team continues to play like that, and remember, that was considered the best offensive line in the country. If USC's defense continues to play like that, specifically in the rushing defense, college football, big conference, everybody, you're in for a world of hurt. Now, knocking on wood, USC stays healthy. That's the problem with USC. That's the concern. They're razor thin on depth, both sides of the line. At linebacker, I thought Easton played well. And he had a couple of slip-ups. He had that one big open field missed tackle that led to a big run. But other than that, look, I'm nitpicking. I'm trying to find things to be upset about, and I'm having a really difficult time. There's still a lot of work for this team to improve. Don't get me wrong. This was not all gumdrops, rainbows, sugar plums. It wasn't Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. There's still a lot of work to be done. But game 1, you noticed a difference. This team is ready to play. They were ready for the moment. They weren't the ones doing dumb things, putting themselves in bad situations. Remember, LSU was the one with 10 penalties for 99 yards. How many? 2, 3 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties? You want to include the targeting? Just saying. So next week, USC at the Coliseum, they're taking on Utah State. I would anticipate more players playing in this game, specifically up front. Don't worry, I have not forgot about the defensive backs. Remember, Doug Belt, he said he was going to rotate in 8 to 10 guys. He held true to his word. He didn't lie. Let me go over these numbers for you, though. You'll say, all right, well, maybe. So Kamari Ramsey had the most, 64 snaps. Achille Arnold, same, 64. Jalen Smith at cornerback, 52. Jacoby Covington at the other corner, 50. Nickelback, Greedy Vance, 41. John Humphrey at the other corner, 20. DeCarlos Nicholson at the other corner spot, 6 snaps. Prophet Brown, 2. Anthony Beavers Jr., 1. Bryson Shaw, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, again, those last 3, all right, they got in the game. I think it was more like 6 in this game if you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty. Even DeCarlos Nicholson, only 6 snaps. That kind of surprised me. Maybe he's battling John Humphrey, who knows the system better than DeCarlos Nicholson coming over from Mississippi State. And both of those guys are, they're trying to get a spot away from Jacoby Covington and Jalen Smith. Jalen has taken his game to a completely different level. He has found a home at cornerback. He is good. He was sticky. Nobody was getting by him. And his physicality, I think I mentioned it on yesterday's episode of Locked on USC. If you haven't watched it, go check it out when you're done with this one. He put a hit on, I believe it was the running back, number 32. I believe that was I think that was who it was. But it was such a pop on the guy's hip right in front of the LSU sideline. That young man did not appreciate getting hit that hard because he got up and he put his helmet right into Jalen's helmet. But don't do that again. Jalen's like, Go line up. Let's play football. LSU is the one who said they were coming for a fist fight. Don't get mad because USC showed up and hits harder. Just saying. Like, I know it kind of felt like the secondary played poorly. I talked about it a little bit on the show yesterday. But again, I think it was by design. Just keep everything in front. Don't get beat deep. And those guys were really good in the red zone. That's where they really shined. This group will be fine once that front 6, 7, I don't know, starts pressuring the quarterback more. Those DBs are going to get even better. They're going to have a chance to make some plays on the ball. Garrett Nussmeier, he didn't really feel any pressure. He was able to sit back there and pick those guys apart. Everything was underneath though. But keep in mind, USC did not do anything exotic. There weren't a whole lot of blitzes. I'd love to see some more safety blitzes. Because when they did bring some extra pressure, Garrett was forced to get rid of the ball earlier than he wanted to, and I believe it usually ended up in an incompletion. He might have completed one, but the few times that USC brought pressure, it worked. So again, I'd love to see more of that. Utah State's probably going to be the place where you feel a little bit more comfortable. Do it at home. Hey, Mondays were rough. Today, I'm recording the show Monday. You're watching it Tuesday. It's been a long day. But you know what? It gets rougher for me after lunch. Are you tired after lunch? Well, you're not alone. In fact, research shows that more than 70% of us, we hit the wall after lunch. Let 5-Hour Energy Shot help you leap over that wall instead of crashing into it. Did you know that 5-Hour Energy has 0 sugar? And it also comes in a convenient portable size, and it's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. Go to their website. The 5-Hour Energy website has pretty much any flavor you can think of. They've got watermelon, tropical burst, grape, berry. Go check it out. You'll find a flavor you like. I guarantee it. And on the site, you'll even have the option, hey, build yourself a 12-pack. Build yourself a 24-pack. It's there for you. And they'll deliver it right to your front door. All I have to do is go to 5hourenergy.com. That's the number 5hourenergy.com and get some 5-Hour Energy product today. And if you use my promo code LOCKEDONUSC, you'll get to receive 20% off your order. Use your energy now. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order, and it cannot be used with other promotions. And as well, this code you can't use it if you already have a subscription. Go to the number 5hourenergy.com today. I've got some recruiting news for you. You ready? If you stuck around, you're ready. You should stick around for the entire show. I'm always going to have something interesting to talk about. So let's get into some recruiting news before we get out of here. A couple of little tidbits, nuggets, notes. 2026, well, for now, 5-star defensive lineman Jakeem Stewart. He's getting ready to make a couple of announcements. It might happen this week, might happen next week. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. If you are an everyday listener, viewer of Locked on USC, I've been telling you guys since the summer, Jakeem is going to reclassify for the 2025 class. He's going to do it. That's what one of these announcements is for. The other one, I'm not exactly sure, but it's probably going to be, I'm going to go 2 different directions. It's either going to be an official visit list or it could be, maybe he's going to put out a final 5 list. And usually those 2 things, OV, official visits and final school lists, they coincide. So maybe it's both. I can tell you this. I know Jakeem had a great time at the game with USC and LSU. He was in Las Vegas, yeah. Remember over the summer on Locked on USC when I told you how Jakeem came out for a workout at USC, got some time in with Coach Henney? They put him through the ringers. They showed him, this is what it's going to be like. If you want to do dog work, this is what it takes. Well, when he was done with his workout at USC, he showed up at Elite 11, and former USC head coach Pete Carroll just happened to be there. He was watching his grandson, who can really spin it. Young, up-and-coming quarterback. I think he's going into his freshman year in high school. So trust me, I'm not going to look at him yet. And you're lucky I'm even talking about 2026 guys. I'm talking about these particular guys for a reason, specifically Jakeem Stewart. Oh, and when Jakeem and Pete Carroll saw each other at the Elite 11, yeah, it was very impactful for Jakeem. I mean, Coach Carroll had Stewart's attention big time. I mean, just a reminder, Pete Carroll's going to be teaching at USC in 2025. Just saying, could doesn't hurt, right? Most think that it's going to be a USC versus Ohio State battle to get his signature once it's time to send in his letter of intent. But LSU is also in the mix, hometown school. He's from New Orleans, and you also have Oregon hanging out out there with a bag. You know they're going to throw money at him. Make no mistake about it, okay? Wherever Jakeem decides to go, Stewart's getting paid, and he's getting paid well, and he's that good. I mean, if he reclassifies into the 2025 class, and he's going to be a top 10 player. And USC's been recruiting him for a minute. Jakeem reminded everyone what Coach Riley told him. This is what Coach Riley told him last year. Coach Lincoln, he told me last year that he was going to get the best defensive staff, and he did it. He told me he's going to get a better facility, and he's done it. As long as Lincoln Riley keeps backing up his words, USC fans might start feeling a little bit more confident about Jakeem eventually committing to USC, especially as this proof of concept keeps proving itself. As this defense continues to blossom, even those guys who were committed back in the spring and decommitted, maybe one or two of them say, hey, you know what? I want to go to LA. Yeah, could happen. Just saying. You're not going to get them all. But give me Jakeem Stewart. Give me Justice Terry. Give me Isaiah Gibson. Who knows? We'll see what happens. A couple of other notes. R.J. Sermon's class of 2026. Quarterback Ryder Lyons, class of 2027. Well, technically it's 2026. He probably does not arrive on campus until 2027. He's going to be taking an LDS mission just like his older brother. Tight end Walker Lyons. I'm telling you right now, USC's recruiting is going to take off sooner rather than later. If they use that victory over LSU as a launching point and just continue to build off of that, yeah, you're going to have guys like Dalen McCutcheon, wide receiver, who's currently committed to Florida State, probably going to say to himself, how long do I want to stay with Florida State? They're 0-2. They just lost at home to Boston College. They do not look good at all. Defensively, they are getting run over. They look like USC on defense last year. And I don't know. They don't have a quarterback. Maybe they have one in the pipeline when Dalen arrives, but right now they have issues on offense. Remember the offensive tackle Aaron Dunn from the state of Utah? Not out of the question that he changed his mind. Just saying. I mentioned Ryder Lyons, the quarterback. USC feels really good. But again, he's not going to show up until 2027. I think I'm going to feel stronger about Juju Lewis as USC continues to prove how well they're playing this year. I think Juju will stay the course. As long as USC doesn't fall flat on their face, I don't think he's going anywhere. But again, it would be great if Juju just said, hey, you know what? Let's do this. Guys, I'm recruiting publicly. It wouldn't hurt. Again, Ryder Lyons, he's USC's to lose. But you know what? Juju, when he's coming next year, he better be ready to compete. You got Jaden Mayava waiting in the wings. He's behind Miller. Then there's Juju class of 2025. And again, Ryder Lyons, he'll be showing up in 2027. And then one other note, you got CJ Sermons, probably top 5 athlete in the state of California. He's another 2026 guy, uber fast. He likes USC a lot, and he should. I mean, he's a legacy. His dad played for USC back in the day. So we'll see what happens. All right, there's your recruiting update. again, this is all coming off a huge win, USC over LSU, 27-20. On the next episode of Locked on USC, we're going to move forward. We're going to turn the page. We're going to talk about about the win a little bit, but we're going to start looking ahead to Utah State and everything else that's going on with the program. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.